Today on Gamers Couch,
Indian Summer.
Hello and welcome to Grey November Germany board game podcast featuring Daniel and Sarah. And we like to go back to the Indian summer today to have a few more wonderful colored things in nature.
We only had maybe a week or two of Indian summer leaves here, so...
It went fast this year, so we gotta have it on the table to prolong the...
Less summer, more rain. I would
More Indian? No.
So that was the point where Uwe Rosenberg decided, I won't have any of that.
I'm gonna help you out, guys.
Let's Tetris the shit out of the Indian summer thing. And then he came up with a game and named it Indian Summer. Although I'm not sure where it was, but I certainly have seen or heard that this had a different theme when it was actually created. I think it was either Paul Grogan or on his podcast or someone else said that this had a space theme or something where you're
build your own galaxy,
where you're discovering stars. Anyway, I mean...
I like Indian Summer. Good choice to have this as a theme.
Since this is, I would assume, abstract enough...
Yeah, but let me quickly get to some housekeeping before we dive into the forest and play with leaves and hedgehogs and such. We are going about this video pretty much like every week. So in case you're new and you haven't seen any of our Gamers Couch video board game podcasts, let me tell you how it goes. We talk about rules and gameplay first. We play a few turns, we show you...
It begins with, I screw up your intro. Then we talk about...
We are post-intro, we are in housekeeping. So now he also screws that up. He screws up everything that is not rules and gameplay, likes and dislikes, funny stories and experiences. Also, he doesn't screw up the rating. Oh, did I put it wrong way around? Sorry. So
no, keep talking.
A little bit of distraction and
don't be distracted.
Game setup. So he screws everything up and he tries to distract me every week, and he's so successful at it. He should get an award or something, but I'm gonna get payback for that later off camera. You have to take down the trash. But aside from rules and gameplay, likes and dislikes, rating and funny stories and experiences, every other week we do have another little thing at the end of the video, which is a teaser for my second board game related show on YouTube, which is called Draw for Initiative. And you could pretty much say this is I don't like you. I so don't like you. Sip your tea now, please. I mean, I love you, but be nice. Draw for Initiative.
Show. Don't poke my eye.
Draw for Initiative is another board game related show, which is pretty much therapy for having wonderful experiences with some games at the table. They're not bad games, not at all, but we do have excruciating moments that we depict in artwork with board games, and we feature a board game every show, and you guys can have a teaser. He has to guess on what the board game is going to be for next Wednesday. Also, final little bit of housekeeping. Next week, there won't be a Gamers Couch because we still haven't figured out how to be in two places at once. So we decided to opt for, hey, let's have the 1 week of vacation we have every year. Fly to Dallas and be at BGG-Con.
Apart from the other week where we're at Essen and shopping for games.
Yes, but I mean, with vacation, with the traveling.
The shopping week of vacation is gone. Now the playing games vacation is coming up in Dallas.
So we're gonna be at BGGCon, so if you see us there and you want to say hello, feel free. We'd love to meet you.
Yeah, or unless I'm playing and trying to win. Then
Please say hello.
Then say hello to Sarah and just do the awkward from afar towards me, and I will make this. And then we understand each other.
And then you're gonna be best friends.
Sure, that too. Interpret as you want.
So, no Gamers Couch next week, but post BGG we catch up with another board game again. Now, that was enough of the housekeeping. Now it's your turn to talk a lot, and that is your wonderful section, Rules and Gameplay. Tell the folks how Indian Summer is played while I sip my tea.
Well, you start waiting through summer, and then it starts slowly getting colder, and the leaves turn their colors, and then before you think, crap, it's winter, then there's one or two, maybe less than one, in our case, days where the sun is coming up again and it's really nice looking outside, and you see all the floor,
Beauty of nature.
the ground is filled with colorful leaves and it looks beautiful, and then you say, that's a nice Indian summer we've got here, and then you freeze your asses off because it's winter. And that's usually
Other people call it autumn, but well.
That's how it goes in Germany. Probably, in most cases, we skip the Indian summer part, but yes. So that's the game.
No.
No?
Do it for real.
Okay, hold on to your butt ovens. So, Indian Summer is kind of the sequel to Cottage Garden, which is also a game by Uwe Rosenberg, and the man really likes his tetrinominals, I think is the word without making a knot into my tongue. So, Tetris-shaped little pieces that go on a board to fill it up or form something. In this case, it's a fill it up case of variety. So, in Indian Summer, each of us has one of these floorboards that we have to fill entirely with these beautiful leaves over here. And you win the game by just being the first to fill up your entire floor. For that, you have these tiles here at your disposal under your backpack, and once you run out of them, you can refill from this kind of the common trail, it's called. So you start taking over here and then move the bush around here. So if you ever run out of these, you fill up from this common resource, and everybody has access to that. So you might want to see how you time that, or how you can utilize the stuff that's around. On your turn, you pretty much are just doing one thing. You have one main action, which is either to place one of your tiles that you have available here onto your board, and you can do that in any shape or form, like so, or like this. You're obviously not allowed to go out of bounds, but within these areas here, that is allowed. The other thing that's not allowed is to have stuff cover each other. So, the thing you want to kind of try to pay attention to is to align these holes with the symbols on the board, because whenever you do, you pick one of these little tokens, place it on top of here, and then it stays there until you manage to fill up an entire section of this. So if this entire subsection is filled, you get to take all the tokens from the holes that are on here, and they go to your stock of tokens. Another thing that can happen is, let's say you have, I'm trying really hard to make this work, and it doesn't work with this tile. Let's take this tile here. So if you are able to align the holes maybe in such a way, and let's assume this is all filled up, so I actually got the token from these. Then we also have this board here with little animals that can be used to fill up the spaces. So you can take one of these at the end of your turn to fill up a matching set of holes, and then you get the rewards, in this case 2 blueberries and 2 mushrooms, once more. Also, these 3 give you another token in addition to that. So if I would be able to place our little badger guy here, I would get the feather to my supply. And all of that is surprisingly not in any way or form important to ending the game. Well, not at least directly, because now we have to talk about the tokens. So the base premise is you got your main action, place one of your tiles here. If you cannot place or do not want to place any, you can pass, or, which is more likely, you can take one of these squirrel tokens here. And they are essentially just a one tile space, and that's the kind of the other thing you could do as a main action. So let me rearrange these guys here again. And we get to talk about our little special items. Now, I said you've got one main action per turn, and that is either place one of those leaves or a squirrel. But you get a kind of unlimited amount of special actions, and for those you can expend those tokens. There are two generically different types of tokens. The nut and the blueberry are kind of, you can use them however often you want. The mushroom and the feather can only actually be used once per turn, because they modify your main action, and since you still just get one main action, you only have, well, kind of use for one of those. So what does the nut do? Well, it summons a squirrel, so you get to place an additional squirrel wherever you want, which is pretty nice if you just want to fill up a section, then maybe get the rewards from that section, then spend the rewards again on something else. The blueberry lets you prematurely fill up your stack, and that's where I mentioned the timing coming into this. So typically you would place your leaf tiles here until you run out, and then at the end of your turn you fill up to 5 again from the bush. But let's say I already placed these two, and I really want to have these two for some reason. I could spend the blueberry or a blueberry during my turn to fill up to 5 again, and not having to wait until I got rid of all the leaves. Now, the two that modify the main action are actually quite interesting. The mushroom is used to either, in a 3 or 4 player game, you spend the mushroom to use the top tile, or the one that is closest to the backpack. So in my case, this would be this tile here. In Sarah's, it would be that. To steal them, in quotation marks, and put them onto your floor. So that's pretty powerful if you're playing with other people. If you're just playing a 2-player game, you take one tile from your opponent, and the other one is the one that is currently in front of the bush to do that. The feather works in that similar sense. You get to place 2 tiles again, but this time from your own stack. So if you have some particular powerful combo and just want to do that, you can do that. Which also quite is a good explanation of what these tiles are actually doing. They accelerate your play, because this is a racing game in some sorts, because you want to be the first to fill up your floor with tiles, and you want to be as efficient as possible. Use the red tiles cover 5 spaces. They are great for making progress fast, but they have really terrible shapes for most occasions, and unless you're a little bit lucky with drawing the correct one, you might have a hard time, or you will end up with empty 1 or 2 spaces, and the smallest piece you have here is a 3 space, so you really don't want to have 2 empty spaces in between here. All the whilst you try to align the holes of these pieces with additional goodies on the floorboard to, well, be able to have more of these special actions during the game. So it might not be uncommon to play the game and ramp up on quite a few of these, and then fire them off in one giant combo to be able to fill the floor and be the first. Something else you can do with these, and that kind of concludes what is there with rules. You can exchange 2 of each type for the next more valuable one, and there's a handy little conversion table over here. So you can exchange 2 blueberries for a nut, 2 nuts for a mushroom, 2 mushrooms for a feather, or you can exchange for a rate of 1-to-1 for a lower value type of thing there. Although I have to say my personal preference is that the nuts are pretty nuts. They're powerful.
Shall we play?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I have the shoes of starting because while you were explaining, I was so kind as to see, okay, which tile do I want to do first, just for time's sake. So I'm going to put this 5 thing here.
Okay.
There's going to
you can choose any of the tiles, so you don't have to go by the order they're in here. The order of the tiles under the backpack is only important if someone wants to play, let's say, the mushroom tile, which I'm just doing now, just for the sake of showing how it works.
And because you want to screw up my shit.
So I'm playing the mushroom. I get the top tile of Sarah and this one over here. And since I just did that for demonstration purposes, I don't have a good idea on how to
but
place
you
that.
Screwed up my...
But I'll do it anyway. So, by the way, these have 2 different sides. I kind of although the realistic side looks nicer, I prefer the
cartoon.
The icon side a little bit for visibility's sake.
Yeah, at least on the board.
And you, as I just showed you, you can arrange these however you want. You can, well, this one isn't too helpful with that, but you can flip it over and place it in any way or form.
There is a tile missing here.
Yes, so the bush is...
No, you took it for explanation. You don't have 2 red tiles at the beginning.
No, I took it because I played the mushroom.
Oh, okay, good. I forgot that you screwed up my turn royally. So you do not only interrupt my intro.
Still your turn, by the way.
Yeah. You also screw up my thingamajig.
Is your turn still going? I'm just checking.
You are in very dangerous waters here, my love. You don't want to be... Waters. You don't want to be poked.
Okay.
Don't poke the bear.
Okay.
Also, don't poke me.
Okay. So,
are you done now?
Next turn, I'm placing this one over here, and I'm getting a blueberry on top of that, and I'm obviously aiming to show you how it works.
I was aiming for, and that green one would have...
But you placed your tiles terribly for that.
No, really, that one over here would have fit perfectly over here, and then I had a straight one, and I don't like it.
This is a good point to show you how Indian Summer is a much faster game than you might be.
I'm looking if the hole is at the wrong spot.
What?
No, on that tile here, the hole is at the wrong spot.
Yes. I mean, this it looks a little bit cutthroat with the mushrooms. It is certainly more than what let's say Cottage Garden is.
I don't like you. I so don't like you currently. I mean, in general terms, I really like you, but not right now. I don't. So not at all. Well, now I have to make a crappy move because my husband is a horrible opponent to play with.
Okay.
No, it's not okay.
It's my turn now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm placing this guy over here and getting a blueberry on this one. Yeah. And I think I'll just go ahead and spend one of my little nuts to already start placing a squirrel here, and then see how that turns out next turn.
Yeah, wonderful. I so don't like you. Have I told you that I don't like you? I mean, in general, I do. Can you play that one thing I want the next one?
Yes, I can play that one thing when it's my turn, but now it's your turn. Maybe there's something here which you can get.
No,
with
it's not. It's over there. So that is far away.
But that's the same one that I have.
There's
that one. Okay.
With a hole at the end.
Well.
This is inconvenient.
Somehow we all are. In
whatever.
Understanding with the hole at the end.
Yeah. It's on which end of the table?
Okay.
So now I have to refill. Hold your horses. 1, 2. Now you have to help me with the arm. Oh, sorry.
4.
Yep.
And 5.
Yeah, and I'm getting not so great tiles. Let's put it this way.
So I'm now placing this guy over here, which Sarah will really like because now I have liberated the other ones, and since I completed that section, I will now receive all the tokens that are on top of here.
I so don't like you.
Oops, not that one.
Have I told you that I don't like you?
It's a little bit fiddly, as you can see with that. So, and now, while I have them uncovered, you see over here, there's actually no really useful tokens.
Maybe
something I could have done, maybe if I had the right. So if I had, let's say, this thing here, and were able to have it placed in here, then I could have used these 3 holes.
Let me show him how it goes, because I can do it.
Sure.
So I'm going to place this here for a berry. Putting berry on top. I feel like there are some BG quotes coming in.
Okay.
And then I use the nut for the squirrel, and then I...
Oh, I see what you...
Yes. Oh, she's sideways.
And then butterflies will suddenly emerge.
Yes, totally. And I get 2 more berries and a mushroom.
So once more, she's now getting all the stuff because she.
I could have done that in turn 2, but no, Javi stole the tile.
The animal tile is just on top of that, so she now gets an additional supply of all the tiles covered. So that really gives you a boost in little tiles.
You made me work for it.
Pretty nice.
You made me work
thing
for
to
it.
do. So I would I'd play the next one, and I mean you already see how this is going. You just keep on expanding and covering your board. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to get the correct tiles. Sometimes you'll be spending an entire afternoon trying to fit tiles just to figure out that all of them are pretty crappy for what you're trying to do.
If you have AP, you're kind of lost. Is it my turn?
Yes.
I was. Oh, sorry. No, I was just trying out things.
But you can still.
Wow, you did poke at me.
You can still resort to playing a squirrel, which obviously the closer you're getting to the end game, you will have to do more often. Simply because
it's your turn.
You'll end up with more spaces that are less optimal. Let's say I can put this guy here. You can have an empty hole just there to leave it there. And while no, I'll just refill and show you.
And I'm going to put this here. And then it's your turn again. Because I'm really quick if you don't disturb me and I know what I do.
So I'll now place this one. I don't bother putting the nut on there because I will now reap the nut as a reward from here.
I nutted already.
And that's...
And I get 1 nut. It's your turn again. I play while you play.
Is it my turn again?
Yes.
That's great.
You were so...
So just to show you, you can also do something like this.
I already showed them. You're late.
No, that's not what I wanted to show. Also, actually, let me do some conversion magic. So let's go back a step. So I'm converting 2 of my nuts into a mushroom. Then I'm converting a mushroom into a feather. And then I'm spending the feather because I want to place 2 of my tiles at once. I place this guy here first, and then I'll place this guy here second, which grants me blueberry there. Then I'll play these 2 nuts to get more squirrels on the board, which go here. Which fills up that section. I get the blueberry, and now I have the space for the butterfly on the tree stump. I can put it on here. I'm getting 2 additional of these and a blueberry, and now I could keep going. So I could keep going, expanding these little special things.
Can I go?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'd go here. And I take 2 blueberries to make a nut, and the nut makes the squirrel. There's another sibling for Miss Frida Squirrel. And I take the 2 blueberries.
So my point...
And then I refill. Oh, the bush
my point
has to be here.
my point of being is that you don't have to have a whole cover necessarily a bonus tile just to be able to place an animal, but you need a set of holes that match the animal shape to put it on here. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but the bonus for these shapes here, apart from that they're pretty big with 4 spaces to cover, I mean, yes, these two also have 4 spaces, but these are kind of the popular arrangements that also coincide with how you usually find a lot of resources on the board, if that makes sense. Also, if you are able to place this one, you get, in addition to that, the little bonus that is on top of it. That's why these little pieces are there. And we would keep going until someone fills up his entire board and then has won the
Okay, since
game.
you're not playing anymore, I can just go for my OCD and fill up my board and make it pretty. Because I'm so pretty.
But now we want to talk about likes and dislikes of the game. Before we do that, I give Sarah exactly 20 seconds more time.
Make a little more and
this game
make a few more seconds.
Says it takes about 15 minutes per player. It goes up from 1 to 4 player because, and I kind of show you that now, which screws this up here. I'm sorry, but there's a different side on the board that is used to keeping track on how many turns you're using, or on both sides of these boards, which you would be using the solo variant to get better scores and do that.
And have a pretty
for
forest.
Those 1 to 4 players should be ages 10 and up, and that's it. The only difference would be for the 1-player game. Obviously, you need the track. For the 2-player game, the mushroom works a little bit different. So I'd say this was probably a game that was intended for 3 or 4 players in that regard. To do that. Sarah would have now completed her floor and thus would have won the game. Ties later on are resolved by these bonus items, but they don't do anything in regards to scoring otherwise else. So it is your race to fill up the floor quickly, and winter is coming. So
likes and dislikes, and your comment leads me right into one of my points. You have to overcome your OCD with this particular game, because when you look at this, you really want to get all of these fruits and nuts and mushrooms and feathers and such. But it takes quite a while to get the correct shape, to get the most out of your forest floor. But and you kind of want to play slowly, make it nice, make it beautiful. Do not care for all of them, just some of them. And that is something that I find so weird about this game, that you're not only fighting your opponents when you play, at least with 2 players, but you also fight yourself in some regard, which is an interesting point. Let's put it this way. Now, the total awesomely awesome things about this game is, for me, the theme, the mechanic of tile laying with the Tetris shapes. I really like that. And those wonderful, cute animals and the great colors and such. It's just really gorgeous, and it plays with the theme of my favorite season in the year. So yeah, of course, I'm in love.
Ice cream season.
Autumn. So close, honey. So close.
I see.
So of course I love that, and it is very well made when it comes to the quality of the components, very sturdy and such. So I really like that. It's a little tricky with those smaller items here, like the tokens. They're really fiddly, and when you layer them up,
especially with the you will shuffle things around a little bit on the board, and then crap, and now I need to no.
Yes, exactly.
If you're able, as I am, going to.
If you are a crafter, though, and you happen to have one of those pens that let you pick up very small paper and cardboard pieces, you might want to bring that to the table and help out, because that actually really helps. Also tweezers, maybe, there's a thing. Or just have tiny hands. Maybe you're a surgeon and you're really trained
maybe
to
you're a
be
tiny-handed surgeon, which is the direct, that's the target group for this game.
My brother.
Indian Summer, tiny-handed surgeon game.
My brother and my sister-in-law, they're target group for this. No, but for reals, it is very fiddly with these things. Layering stuff. It's not bad with the animals because those shapes are big enough and you can easily
also you're not moving them around
exactly much. One thing, if it really bothers you, I would suggest that you maybe that's why there's two-sided tokens, that you put them down with the cartoon side. If they're on the board, once you have them in your stash, you put them onto the real illustration side, and you just put them next to the board, one to the left, one to the right, meaning, okay, this is where the things sit in the forest, and this is my pool of stuff that I already got.
Need to remember not to place any animals on them because they're technically not revealed.
Exactly, yeah. But you can get around it if it's really too hard and you desperately want to play the game.
Yeah. By the way, these come two-sided. There's a couple of them in the game, just for variety's sake. And as Sarah said, you won't be able to cover all these little icons anyway.
Yes. Another thing that, for me personally, I very much like, but I, again, am the puzzle person. I like puzzles. I like huge jigsaw puzzles, for example, and I like to spend time with them. This is a very quiet game, and this plays slowly in comparison to Patchwork, which I never played, but I heard it's quite fast in comparison to this one, and mainly Cottage Garden, which we both played a lot. So it is even more quiet, and it is even more thinky, because I think it's not only the animals and the smaller tokens that change up the game, but since you have fewer tiles, meaning the variation is smaller. In Cottage Garden you have very many shapes, different kinds of shapes, with maybe one or two tiles being of that shape, and here you have a lot of them.
I think what speeds this, and we are probably, since this is kind of a sequel to Cottage Garden, we have to talk about this. I think that Indian Summer is a much faster game, mostly because of the shared path resources. I mean, it's shared in Cottage Garden as well, but you still have the farmer that is moving around the board.
And you cannot access at one given shape at any point.
Also, here you have a stash of tokens or tiles that you can kind of take into your calculation. Yes, some player might take the top one out of those, but usually you have at least 2 or 3 others down there that you can start planning with for. But that is also makes this game way more interactive between players. So I can see why, say, it is quieter, but it is also not, because there's you get to take stuff away from people, and that will typically evoke a reaction, as you've just seen.
Exactly. Yes, it is. But on your board thinky part, I found myself more quiet thinking about my stuff than I found myself thinking about stuff in Cottage Garden. I was quicker there. I'm way slower here because I want to make the best of what I get.
I think, or the thing that is just from a feeling very different for me is when I'm playing Cottage Garden, I'm playing a game where I want to fill up a board fast and optimally, yes, but I also fill it up with kind of I want to maximize my points. I want to have these little, what they call
the glass,
ceramic bowls or the glass things on there to get more points. Here it is entirely different because actually I should feel bad about covering up these bonus tiles, but I don't if it lets me win the game faster. What you want to do here is jump from combo to speed up your turn and have multiple things completed. And it's almost that the game escalates towards the end. Maybe that's because that's the way how we play it, that we hoard a couple of those tokens and then...
it's not necessarily hoarding, but I think the both of us, we make sure that, let's say, the first 2 turns, we make sure that we get the most out of the
large tiles, the five
yes,
tiles,
and get
places,
most of these resources here. And after that, we don't mind covering something up, and that just gives us a pool, and then it escalates into really fast turns.
You know that towards the end of the game, you will need the squirrels quite a lot, so you will be hoarding the nuts. Well, I mean, that's kind of what squirrels do in that case, and it's a surprisingly thematic implementation of the mechanism. But that makes it feel like a different game. As I said, Cottage Garden is, for me, I feel I get this little rush of puzzle happiness when I fill my little tile, turn it in, and get to start a new one. Here it's... move fast, get to be the first one to close it down. And since you don't have a scoring thing in here as well, while that also contributes to speeding up the game, it kind of makes the end of the game a little bit anticlimactic, because most of the times we played, I was immediately saying, okay, either I get another turn and then I'll win, or you get to finish your board today. And
today. Oh, yeah. But this I just thought of it when you said. You get the rush of filling multiple boards with Cottage Garden, and here you just want to race. I think this game has a very, very subtle sub-theme. This is nature. It's not beautiful. It's not perfect. It's not optimal when it comes to getting all of the resources that is given.
Just like nature, you're stucking squirrels in the holes of the ground.
Exactly. But it is beautiful in the end. You always end with a beautiful board, no matter if you are the winner or if you have maybe one tile missing, it's still beautiful. But nature sometimes is harsh and has to be fast and cannot use all of the resources it has been given, but it just wants to grow.
And I mean, honestly, why there's no need to be beautiful if you're a tiny-sized hand surgeon.
Wow, I hope my brother never sees my videos. If you do, I'm so sorry.
I haven't said
he didn't have the pills that make him nice.
The desire for beauty, and maybe you have your qualifications somewhere else.
Wow, you think a bit more. Dig.
Wait.
Christmas is soon, and we're going to meet up with my brother. Let me forget the story before that.
I'll try to bring a squirrel. Throw it on the ground wherever I see a place not covered by leaves.
That's one story for the funny stories and experiences that I want to share there. So, question is, do you have any other wise words for this section, or shall we go to rating?
We can rate, and then I think I get to the obvious question.
1, 2, 3. Nope, I really like it.
I still like it. The question, I guess, is if you own Cottage Garden, do you need Indian Summer? And
that depends on the person.
Here's what I would say to you. If you want to play a quicker game that is just easier on the mind, go with Indian Summer. If you want to have a more Zen-like approach to the game and play the game for going
gardening,
for a small garden and have that feeling, go for Cottage Garden. since we haven't played Patchwork yet, still, I can't say if that's the better game if you, let's say, are 2 players. But I think, regardless of player count, Cottage Garden and Indian Summer plays fine with all of them. Again, it's just a slightly different feel. And I mean, on the other hand, I really like this Tetris-shaped tile-laying games. I also like Feast for Odin, which is the other game by Uwe Rosenberg recently, who was utilizing that. And that's a really meaty game that takes a lot more decisions in there. I just like placing things on a board and
make it beautiful.
Make it fit.
Yes.
So I don't regret that, although I prefer the zen-like state of Cottage Garden over the rush of Indian Summer, and that's why I'm kind of tilting my thumb.
Yeah, and
bit.
For me, they both have their place exactly because they are so different. There, the zen versus the race. So,
and I mean, Cottage Garden is a race technically as well,
yes,
because you're racing for points.
Not that much. No, I like to make my garden beautiful. Here, I'm fine with racing a bit more.
Cottage Garden also has this point at the end of the game where you want to stick the landing. You want to be lined up with your boards to maximize points, but be finished exactly when
at
the game
right
ends.
point. Exactly.
That's more a timing thing than a racing thing.
And that makes it play for me so differently. So both of those games are in different spots for me, meaning if I am in the racing mood, I want to play this.
Or if you just want to play the faster of the 2 games, I would say.
Yeah, I don't mind. Well, yes, it plays faster, but it's not an hour faster. It's like 15 minutes faster, so it is fine for me.
Although
they're kind of...
I can see the difference with 4 players.
Exactly, yes. But most times that we play with the 2 of us because we have date night every week and I bug you to play one of the quicker games after we had the big game on the table. So... if I want the really zen, beautiful garden thing, I'm going to ask you for Cottage Garden, and it will feel totally different to me than playing Indian Summer. And that is why they both get the thumbs up, because they occupy different spaces in my game shelf, in my head. So, yeah. But funny stories and experiences, let's share a few. This is not a forest, guys. We actually, not in the first game, though. In, I'd say, the 2nd to 4th game, this was either a squirrel farm or maybe something like a zoo. We had 15 squirrels on the board. I had 13, you had 15 in the last game. So we were collecting blueberries and nuts left and right.
Maybe we were not playing optimal.
We were fast. It was like, I'd say 10 minutes maybe. We really were very lucky with the shapes that came out, because there's a huge bag still of shapes that is not on the board, because you fill them up once you used everything that is on the board on the table.
Use all parts of the autumn.
And then we just we played 2 games in a row, and the second game we just refilled from the bag and had really great luck with the shapes that we drew. So we could fill up our boards really fast. We collected a lot of resources, the both of us, in the first 2 or 3 turns. And then we had, excuse my French, a shitload of berries and nuts, and we could just squirrel the heck out of it.
That is actually not French. And that is very insensitive towards the French.
I know. It's a saying.
I'm disappointed.
In you? That you don't speak French? That's true. So,
Je ne sais pas.
Oh, you're gonna get a cupcake today. You spoke French, and I didn't even teach you that sentence. Did I teach you that sentence?
No. There's I only know the really important French parts, like je ne sais pas and rien ne va plus.
And?
What? What?
You always learn to curse in a different language than your... anyway, so that was something... the first game that we played, though, we were kind of... I don't want to say irritated, but it felt weird because we didn't get to the racing aspect yet. We wanted to get all of the resources and make everything pretty. So it felt like we played forever to fill our floor.
The interesting part is that even the manual of the game explicitly tells you, see these are not your points. These will play them. They make you win the game by playing them fast.
We did, but still we tried to not cover up all of the resources there, which made us play a little slower than we do in any other, or than we did in any other game after the first one. So that was something that I did not remember happening in Cottage Garden. So that was new, and that's why I kind of remember it.
I think that's the crux with what I was saying with points, maximizing the points you're getting in Cottage Garden versus this one. I was still in that mindset, and you leave that right at the doorstep. This is different in that regard.
Exactly, and we try to not assume anything with games that are similar from the same designer. So we really make an effort.
But here we assumed everything.
We couldn't get out of that Cottage Garden bubble to go into the Indian summer one. So that was something I definitely remembered. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I felt like we were going for the really big animal tiles that come with a resource. We tried to, or we gave those animals the
you prioritize.
Danke. Oh,
bitte.
Thanks. Priority.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So great that you can read
That's your
my
German
mind.
lesson of the day. Sorry, no curse words this time.
Oh, it can't always be. I mean, there's more words than bad words in German. Yeah, but we were really going for those, trying to get that one more resource with them instead of going for other shapes.
And as I said, playing this game, I didn't feel that these you get to place 2 tiles or even the mushroom are necessarily that powerful. It's more I have a lot of squirrels, and I'll unleash them on this floor, and that will make me win the game.
I have a school of squirrels.
Yes, a swarm of squirrels that'll.
They live in my forest. So I think that ends the game. Shall we have the teaser thing? Are you ready? So
hang on. Okay.
The game that we
Cottage Garden.
No. That we already
summer.
We already painted Cottage Garden. We didn't paint Indian Summer yet because we just bought it 2 weeks ago.
I almost got it. Just need one more hint.
The game that we're gonna paint. Gloomhaven. No, Gloomhaven. No, that's not the point. So here's a little tip. We painted that painting in May this year, just to give you a little frame of what we played then and what we bought afterwards, which is not an option to be painted. But the game that we are going to paint is a cooperative game that is pretty much the Crime Stoppers calling kind of thing happening with one person that speaks very unclearly. It's it's pretty much the guy saying, "Oh, I know something about this murder, but when I call..."
So you're saying it's the game that is best played with a lawyer at the table?
No. The other one. That is best played with the lawyer's friend. Who knows everybody.
I don't know what you're getting at.
It's a mystery. I know. So
Maybe you're possessed by some kind of ghost that tells you what to do, but this is not helping at all.
it did help. I just heard it. You know what I'm talking about.
No.
So which game is it?
I don't know. What are you talking about? I'm just getting weird signal interference here, and then I'm getting angry because I'm pretty sure I knew what I picked, and then you said, no, something different.
And now say the game's name.
I don't know.
Oh, you do. You're dropping all the...
I'm sorry, guys. This is a terrible house. If we were in Poland.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyway, this will bring me to my grave, and I will come back and haunt people with clues to stuff that they won't be able to figure it out. So have fun guessing at it. It's Dixit, and
it's not. There's no crime in Dixit.
Dixit, there is a lot of crime in Dixit. You should see me losing at Dixit. You will immediately say, "Yep, that's a crime." But
it's not a murder.
It's so close.
But no. Also, Dixit is a French game and not.
You just forfeited all your sympathies with and for the French by.
No, I really like them. I speak their language. Do you?
But you insulted them anyway.
No, it's what the English people say when they insult the French. I don't.
No, I think it's what some American people say when they're insulting the French, which is not necessarily.
I didn't say British. I said English.
Yeah, but they're also English.
Really?
Yes.
You think? And now I'm getting back at him for earlier. This is how you settle the score or settle anything for...
Thank you for joining us this week while we talk about the ugly, decaying cousin of spring, which would be autumn.
It's my favorite season. Yes, don't say it's ugly.
It's her favorite carcass.
It's beautiful. It's so colorful and warm light and...
Death is so beautiful.
It can be.
No,
if you want to have meat tonight, you might also say that.
Thank you for joining us before we talk about further crimes in planning in this videographic evidence piece. You can see us again, but not next week, because we will be playing games in a different country and are probably annoying people there as much as we just did you, which is a little piece of respite.
This is what you do on vacation.
For you
annoy people.
But we'll be back. And when we are back...
You're not off the hook.
We will be talking some nonsense about other games because... Surprise, surprise, there's still a lot of games we haven't even played. We picked up at Essen, and we will continue working through that pile for the rest of the year, probably, or parts of the year at least.
And that year is from October 2017 to October 2018. That is a year.
What other year?
Well, they could say it ends at 31st of December 2017. Why? I don't know. People come up with shit.
That's such an arbitrary...
I know.
Anyhow, as I said, thank you for joining us. If you thought this was funny and or want to punish someone else, you can kind of force them into watching this or coerce them into watching this and say, hey, this is really cool. And then afterwards say, ha ha, idiot. And then... which does not imply that I think of you as an idiot for staying with us still while I'm ranting on here, but maybe you're a sadist kind of person like I am.
Are you?
No. So if you see us somewhere where we are not when we're not here, or when we are not here, that way around, say hi. We would appreciate it and would be happy to say hi to you as well. And see you another time when we're back on the gamer's couch. At the table, which is still not.
The couch is behind us. It evolved. It grew.
But the gamer's couch is over there.
No,
the
it's
other
there.
couch.
That is the gamer's couch. This is the original one, not that one. That is the B couch, and now we're at the table.
Now we're at the C table.
We are surrounded by gamer's couches.
Let's see. Goodbye.
Bye. That was weird.